Hello. Welcome in to Ray on Sports. Once again, it's January 5th, 2026, Monday night, and this is the new episode of Ray on Sports. I hope you like the new intro. I was looking for some new music to play because the other one was okay, but I was like having issues with it. But I found the new, whoa, I found the new one to play. So there we are. So anyway, welcome in to this edition of Ray on Sports. Today we're going to talk a little NFL. We might talk a little NBA, college football as well. I think I put some. If you go to my TikTok channel, you'll see me some comments on the college football as well. We can go over that too a little bit, but let's start off with the NFL. NFL playoffs are here. NFL playoffs are here. Did you hear me when I said it? NFL playoffs are here. What does that mean? That means every team. Well, let me put it. Let's go back. Let's go back. So what that means is that the regular season is over, and there's a lot of coaches that lost their job. We can go into that a little bit later, but let me talk about the playoffs first, and then we'll go back and talk about teams that didn't make the playoffs and teams that lost their coaches and teams that decided to keep their GMs and not and fire the coaches. All that other stuff added to that. And place basic off of that, there is some things that were said about a certain coach for a certain team that I didn't care about. You know, um, Basically the announcer the person that talked about it, we'll talk about it later, but he said something about the coach that got fired, and he was saying something about him, and I was like, nah, I doubt it. But anyway, let's get started with the NFL playoffs. So right now in the AFC, the Broncos have the number one seed because of their last game. They won their last game. A lot of teams did not win their last game. A lot of teams played poorly down the stretch, but the Broncos played to win because they knew they was fighting for the number one seed. So they have the number one seed, which means they give a bye in the first round. Number two seed is the Patriots. Number three seed is the Jacksonville Jaguars. Number four seed is the Steelers. Number five seed is the Texans, and number six seed is the Bills, and number seven seed is the Chargers. Now, think about that for a minute. Are we missing a team? We're missing a couple of teams in the AFC. The ones that's always there, the staples of the AFC, the Kansas City Chiefs, and the Cincinnati Bengals. Oh, there's another team, and the Baltimore Ravens. They did not make it. Why didn't they make it? Well, the Ravens lost on the last day of the season on a field goal. I didn't see the entire game, but they lost to the Pittsburgh Steelers, and the Steelers and the Ravens were fighting to get in the playoffs. It was like win or go home, like they do in college. And my boy Aaron pulled it out for the Steelers. Nobody didn't expect it. I think they expected the Steelers to make the playoffs, but nobody expected the Ravens not to make the playoffs. And they were talking about putting it on Lamar Jackson. But in my opinion, no, it's a team effort. Yeah, Lamar was hurt majority of the year. He was in and out the lineup. They won a couple of games. They lost a couple of games when he was there. But for him to come in, come back in last game of the season, try to win it all, try to get in the playoffs, the winner go home situation. A lot of pressure on him, but I didn't see, like I said, I didn't see the game, but I saw the final score. I saw the final play of the game, actually, the final field goal that won the game for the Pittsburgh Steelers. So with that being said, what do we have? So our first game is going to be for the AFC. Is going to be on January 11th. It's the Patriots versus the Chargers. It's going to be NBC and Peacock. So if you get a chance, check it out for you Patriots fans or Chargers fans. Right now, some of the stats that we're looking at. The New England Patriots actually finished 14-3 in their division. They won the AFC East by a landslide, I believe. Yeah, well, the Buffalo was right behind them, but then only two other teams in your division were the Jets and the Dolphins. Dolphins season, we already know how that went. And Jets season, we already know how the Jets are. The Jets are the Jets. Jets, Jets. Ain't going nowhere. Anyway, so going into this game, look at the injury report for the Chargers versus the Patriots. I'm sorry, New England Patriots versus the Los Angeles Chargers. I know some Charger fans out there. My nephew is a Charger fan. See my gift back there? See my gift back there? That's what my nephew got me for Christmas. But anyway, autograph Joe Montana. I think I said it on the last podcast, but there it is. It's on the wall. Bam. Anyway, so For the Chargers, who are coached by Jim Harbaugh, not John. John is with the Ravens, and that's another thing we talk about the coaches. John Harbaugh might not be there next year, but we never know. Anyway, um, so for the LA Chargers, their quarterback is Justin Herbert. His season stats so far: 512 passes. Sorry, let me go back. 340 passes out of 512 thrown. He completed 340 out of 512. He had 26 TDs, 13 interceptions, 3,727 passing yards. Pretty good for Justin Herbert. A lot of people thought Justin Herbert wasn't going to make it this year because of Harbaugh, but Harbaugh, they call him a quarterback whisperer. He can get the best out of the quarterback, so he got the best out of Justin Herbert. The running back had 155 carries and 3 touchdowns and 643 rushing yards for this season. Their top wide receiver, Lamb McConkey, 66 reception yards and 6 TDs, 789 yards. I believe he was hurt a lot of the years. Then their defense, top players. I'm just looking at the top players. I'm not looking at the entire season, the entire roster. Tua Tipalupa, I believe that's his name. He's a linebacker. He had 13 sacks this year, and Henley, I don't know his first name. He had 103 tackles this year. So that's their stud. I guess maybe that's their studs on offense. Their injury report: Jameer Slater is not playing. He's a guard. Elijah Molden, a cornerback, who will not be playing. They're questionable. Both of them are questionable with hamstring injuries. Omar Hampton is questionable with a running back, questionable with an ankle injury. Brady Bozeman is questionable as a center, questionable with a concussion. And Keandre Lambert-Smith, a wide receiver, is questionable with a hamstring. So what questionable means that they might play, they might not play. It depends on how they feel, depends on how they do on game day. So they put them out as questionable. But on the New England Patriots side, you got Drake May, who is not the overall choice for MVP, but he's running close. He's running real close between him and the guy from Seattle. I don't like his name. I'm sorry. Sam Darnold. So they're saying between Drake May, and Sam Darnold. I would even put Bo Nix in there, but they're not gonna talk about Bo like that. But anyway, Drake May, and the reason why he's considered MVP is because what he did. He did lead his team to the AFC East title. He led them to 14 wins, by 14 wins and 3 losses. He had 354 out of 354 out of 492 passes, 31 TDs, and 8 interceptions. His running back had 180 carries. I'm sorry. Then Drake May also had 4,394 yards passing this year. Stephon Diggs, who came from the Buffalo Bills, 85 reception and 4 TDs and 1,000-yard season. Then they have some kind of some studs on defense, Landry and Spillane on defense. So pretty good game. My pick, they're playing in New England. I would take the Patriots. Chargers don't play well on the road, in my opinion. But I would take the Patriots. I think the Patriots win by right now. God, the spread is 3.5. Let's stick on about 3.5. Under is 3.5. I'm sorry, the spread is 3.5. I think it'll be a good game. I believe the Patriots will take it. Will take it because they're excited to be there. They're number 2 seed. They would have been a number 1 seed, but I think they lose. I don't know if they lost on the last day of the season, but let me see. Oh no, it's right here. I'm sorry. No, they won their last game. They just the Patriots, yeah. So I don't know why what's the name got the first number 1 seed? Oh, Denver. Denver has number 1 seed because they won out. And I think they had a better record than the Patriots, but Patriots are back. Remember the Tom Brady Patriots? Remember them guys? They saying Drake May maybe. They're not saying he's the next Tom Brady, but they're saying the Patriots might be back. This might bring them back to what they are, to the what they are. But who knows? Probably not. I doubt it. So my pick for that, like I said, I would take the Patriots. Chargers are 5-3 on the road. Patriots are 6-3 at home. So I'm taking the Patriots on that game. Let's look at the next game. Next game is going to be the Jaguar versus the Bills. This is going to be a good one. The reason why I say that is because the Bills, for one thing, Jacksonville Jaguars are hungry. They made the playoffs on the last day. They won the AFC South on the last day. The Bills came up second in AFC East behind the Patriots. Jacksonville had the that's my dog barking in the background. Don't worry about it because my daughter's coming in late. She always come in late when I'm doing my podcast. But the dog's barking. Shut up, Coop. Shut up. We're talking late, and then there's somebody else who's gonna come upstairs too. My son Jody's coming upstairs too while I'm doing my podcast. But it is what it is. That's kind of where you live in when you're doing a podcast. People all come in all the time and just walk in and just and these mics picks up so well that they just it happens. It is what it is. But anyway, let's get back to the Buffalo Bills versus the Jacksonville Jaguars. Buffalo versus Jacksonville. Trevor Lawrence. 4,007 yards passing, 29 TDs, and 12 interceptions. Josh Allen, 3,668 yards passing, 25 TDs, and 10 interceptions. Their running back, James Cook, 309 carries, 12 TDs, 1,600 yards rushing for the season. Travis Etienne, 1,100 yards passing. 1,100 yards rushing, 260 carries, and 7 touchdowns this season. This one right here is a toss-up as far as the Jacksonville and Buffalo, because for Buffalo, it's Josh Allen. Josh Allen runs it. If Josh Allen plays well, the Bills win. Josh Allen plays poorly, Bills lose, because they don't really have anything else. As far as I know, they don't have any. They don't have the receiver. Like I said, Stephon Diggs is now in New England, so they don't have him. Their top receiver only had 719 yards receiving this year. So they really didn't have a go-to guy. And you need a go-to guy when it comes to playoffs, especially playing in that division. They are playing in Jacksonville, so they're not playing Buffalo. So it might be. I'm calling it upset. I think Jacksonville's gonna pull this off. I think Trevor Lawrence has found his groove, found his niche. He is that dude. He's that dude. He looks like the dude that was at Clemson. Was he from Clemson? I want to make sure. Yeah, Trevor Lawrence was in Clemson. Yeah. So Trevor Lawrence does look like that dude from Clemson. He finally. Yeah, Clemson. This is his. Trevor Lawrence is in Clemson. Good job, Johnny. You learn something every day. Good job, Johnny. But yeah, I believe Trevor Lawrence will be Trevor Lawrence. Trevor Lawrence went to the problem with his team having a bad coach who didn't know how to coach him properly. I put it like that. So he got a new coach in there, and the coach kind of like, there's some coaches that get it and some coaches that don't. We talked about this before on the podcast. There's some people that get it and some people that don't. The ones that don't get it are the ones that are out of a job. The ones that do get it are the ones that keep their job and have long tenures in the NFL. But for the Jacksonville Jaguars, Trevor Lawrence's coach, Liam Cohen, that's his name, he found something for Trevor Lawrence. He actually, it's not really about Trevor. It's about the entire team. Our entire team has bought into this coach. And so the entire team is playing well and they're winning. And for the Jacksonville to come from where they were last year to where they are this year, great, outstanding. I love it. I love it for him. So, like I said, I just might. Where are we going? Okay. I just might pick the Jacksonville Jaguars to pull this game off. So I'm just going to do some picks real quick. I'm not going to go into detail. That's for other shows like the ESPNs and the Fox Sports ones and the ESPN Radio and all those shows. They do more stats than I do. But I'm going to get better at my stats. I'm just doing, I'm looking off of ESPN. I'm look at the stats here and seeing how it looks. Next one's Steelers and the Texans. That's going to be a good one. The Steelers versus Texans. That's going to be a real good one. CJ Stroud versus Aaron Rodgers. DK Metcalf versus Nico Collins. Ooh-wee. That might be pretty good. See, the Texans have bounced back from last year. Actually, yeah, last year they bounced back from last year because I think last year it was a down year for them, but they made it to playoffs last year. They made it to wild card last year, and I think they lost to the Bills, I believe. I think they lost they lost to the Chiefs, I believe. Don't quote me on that, but they will be there. And going against the Pittsburgh Steelers, it's Aaron Rodgers show. The same thing I said about Buffalo. If Aaron doesn't play good, Pittsburgh doesn't play good. If Aaron doesn't have a good game, Steelers might not be there. But I've talked about this before. The Steelers franchise, they look at wins, but they don't really go after their coaches and say, okay, if you didn't go past the wild card, we ain't gonna keep you. Because like I talked about it before in our previous podcast about how many coaches the Steelers have had over the years, and I think it's like 5 over the last 45, 50 years. They don't turn over coaches like that, even if they have a bad season. They look at the franchise as a whole, the fan base and the players they bring in. They don't blame it all on the coaches. Now there's a lot of teams that blame it on the coaches, which I can see some of the coaches that just don't get it, and people think it's the players and it's not the coach. But see, here's the thing. Let's see. Look, now I'm gonna get away from the playoffs and let's talk about the coaches. If you have a coach that knows what he's doing and knows how to handle the team, then you guys will be successful. But if you have a coach that doesn't really have the ear to team, as they say, ear to team, and especially ear your star players, then you're not gonna make it that long. And no matter how good of a coach you are, sometimes some coaches just don't fit in certain systems. You can try it, but no. So with that being said, in this game, I'm taking the Houston Texans over Pittsburgh Steelers. Yeah, I said it. Houston over Pittsburgh. Yeah, quote me on that. So if they don't make it, hit me up next week and let me know how I did. You have to hit me up on my email at rayonsports0905@gmail.com. That's rayonsports0905@gmail.com. Give me your opinions. Give me your insights. Also, you can find me on TikTok at JohnnyRay/RayOnSports. You can find me on YouTube at Ray on Sports. You can find me on Facebook at Ray on Sports. Also, you can find this podcast on Apple Podcasts, on Spotify, on Buzzsprout, on Amazon, on YouTube. Anywhere you can find you get your podcast, you can just type in Ray on Sports, and I'm right there. I got a big yellow logo that's near the. Well, this is an audio podcast, so you don't really see it, but there's a big logo that says Ray on Sports, and you'll see me right there, Johnny Ray Jr., Ray on Sports. So anyway, let's get back to this. So like I said, I'm picking the Texans over the Steelers in this game. I think CJ Stroud's gonna have a good game. I think the Steelers gonna make it close, but I don't think they have the firepower to really to win the whole thing. So yeah, I'm taking the Steelers. I'm gonna start taking the Texans, and that's the first round in the AFC. Like I said, the Broncos gonna have a bye, so they'll play the winner of the Steelers Texans game. That's gonna be a good game. Okay, so in the NFC, let's go to the NFC. Bears and the Packers. Wow, this should be pretty good. The Bears. The Bears system. The Bears team is one of the teams that I was talking about the coaches. You get the right coach and the right system, and it works out. Now you got this guy, the new coach. I'm sorry, the coach of the Bears that used to be the offensive coordinators for the Detroit Lions last year. So they got the coach in there, and I believe. Do I believe it? Yes, I believe the Bears can win. I'm looking at something real quick. Yeah, I think the Bears can do it. I think the coach is good. I think the team is good. Who God, what's his name? What's his name? What's his name? What's the guy's coach's name for the Bears? Let me find it real quick. I'm gonna find it and I'll tell you guys who it is. But yeah, I think the Bears gonna take. I think the Bears gonna pull it out. Ben Johnson. So Ben Johnson, coach of the Chicago Bears. Sorry, the names are like losing it. But Ben Johnson, yeah, he has got Caleb Williams, who's from USC. This is the second season in the league. He got him to turn it around big time. Wow. I believe in Ben. I believe in Caleb. Um, can they upset the Packers? Yeah, because I don't know if Jordan Love wasn't didn't play the last game. I think he had a concussion, and they had on the backup in the last game I saw. He didn't play, but he might be back. But will he play? Will they make it? I don't know. I think I'm gonna say this is gonna be a toss-up game. This is gonna be a close game. I want to take the Packers, but they're in Chicago, so I'm gonna take the Bears. I'm gonna take the Bears. My wife is a Packer fan. She's gonna be mad at me. Okay, but anyway, I'm gonna take the Bears. I think the Bears. I think the Bears can do it. I think Ben Johnson has done enough with Caleb Williams, and I think the schemes that he runs. Caleb has 27 TDs this year and 7 INTs compared to his last year. He's doing pretty good. Let me see if I can pull up his stats from last year. But yeah, he's done pretty good. Let's see stats right here. Caleb stats from last year. I'm gonna follow Caleb. So 2025. So in 2025, Caleb Williams had 393,942 yards passing this year, 27 interceptions and 7 INTs. Uh, his 2024 campaign, Caleb had 20 TDs and 7 picks. And he had about the same amount of yards, 3,541 yards. But I only played 17 games last year. Had a 62% completion rating, but got sacked 68 times. But that did not bode well. And this year he only got sacked 24 times, and his QBR rating was 90. Um, his average yards per game was 231 yards per game. So like I said, Ben Johnson came in there, did some things with Caleb, and Caleb is playing better. So I'm taking the Bears. I'm taking the Bears or the Packers. Wife ain't gonna like it. Okay, whatever. Let's go to the next game. I should say my game for last. Let's go to the other game. Rams and the Panthers. Okay. Ooh. Carolina Panthers versus the LA Rams. I think the Rams will pull this off. I like Carolina, and they're at home, but I don't think Carolina has enough to keep up with the Rams defensive wise. And what I say is about the Carolina doesn't have enough defensive wise to keep up the Rams because the Rams they have some weapons on offense. They have Puka Nakua. They have the I think it's Kyle Williams, the running back. Matthew Stafford is the other candidate for MVP. Oh my God, Devontae Adams is supposed to play. They said he is playing. So they got some weapons on offense. And if you can't stop the run with the LA Rams and Coach Sean McVay, you'll be in for a long night. I believe this game is going to be a blowout. I believe that LA Rams going to get in there and they're going to go up big, hot, fast. And by the time Carolina figures out what's going on, the game's going to be put away. That's my opinion. I like Carolina. I like Bryce Young. I like what he did. I like how he came back after being benched and deciding that he wanted to, he got a wake up call. So he played. He was the number 1 draft pick for the Carolina Panthers. He played horrible. They benched him. They put a backup in. The backup played, but while he played, Bryce was back there listening. I guess he was listening in the meetings, listening to in the practice. He was on the field listening. And so when they put him back in the game, he played well, and he did well this season. Coming back with 23 touchdowns, 11 interceptions, 3,000 yards passing. So like I said, he's improved himself. He's gotten better, but I don't see him. I don't see them winning. So I'll take the Rams. I'm taking the Rams on that. I'm taking the Rams on that. Final game. Final game. My San Francisco 49ers going against the Philadelphia Eagles in Philly. My man Brock Purdy. Have you seen my man Brock Purdy do the Dougie? Give me Dougie. He dug in. Brock got that dug in. Uh, uh, uh. Teach me how to Dougie. Brock, teach me how to. Okay, anyway. So Brock is doing pretty well. Came back, did pretty well. Going against the Philadelphia Eagles. If you remember, well, the Eagles played the Niners in 2023. I want to say 2023 in the NFC Championship game. And almost beat them in Philly. And I think that when Philly was the number 1 seed and the 49ers came in here. And all these were the Niners, I want to say we so bad, but I got to keep it straight. But you know what? I'm going to say us because my man Harry Douglas says it on Freddie and Harry all the time. He said, my Atlanta Falcons, we. Okay, so my 49ers, we had them in that game. We had them. And then Brock got hit and got hurt. And that was it. Game over. We had that game. We had Philly reeling. We had that game. So I think this is going to be a get back game. You hear that ding dong? That's my ring camera. That's my ring alert stuff going off because my daughter keeps running and out the door like that. I don't know what's wrong with her. She's looking at me crazy too. I don't know why, but it's okay. I love her. So, but I think Brock Purdy will pull it off. I think he will against Jalen Hurts. Jalen Hurts had 25 touchdowns and 6 interceptions. Brock has 20 touchdowns and 10 interceptions. Christian McCaffrey, 311 yards, 311 carries, 10 touchdowns, and another thousand-yard rushing season. Christian McCaffrey was also leading them in receiving yards too, though. And the reason for that because George Kittle's been out for a while. Ricky Pearsall's been out for a while. God, we just had so many injuries on offense and defense. That's why. Trent Williams is questionable with a hamstring. That's our offensive line, offensive tackle, best in the business, Pro Bowler, Hall of Famer, Trent Williams. Hopefully he can go. Hopefully he can play, but I don't know. So they're saying that he might play on the 11th. They got another wide receiver that's out. Fred Warner is trying to come back. He's been on injury reserve all year because he got hurt. He's been out all year, just like Nick Bosa's been out year. So this has been a bad year for the San Francisco 49ers. But even with all the injuries we had with Kittle going down, with Brock going down, with McCaffrey went down for a little bit, with Brandon Ayuk been gone for the entire season, San Francisco 49ers still pull out a 12-5 record. Can you say that about any other team? A lot of teams that have that many injuries throughout the season don't make it that far. But that's the coaching of Kyle Shanahan. He's a master of coaching, and he can take. How you think Sam Darnold got his job with the Minnesota Vikings? How do you think that happened? Because he was the backup in San Francisco 2 years ago under Brock Purdy, behind Brock Purdy, and Brock got hurt, I believe, and Sam came in and played a couple of games. Yeah, Brock got hurt. Sam came play a couple of games. Kyle Shanahan coached Sam Darnold. I'm talking about. And what that led to was Sam Darnold going to Minnesota. Same kind of coach he had. In Minnesota, he had the same kind of, they ran kind of almost the same system. And when he went to Minnesota, the coach at Minnesota and Shanahan run about the same thing. So Sam Darnold thrived in Minnesota. And what that do? It turned him over into the Seattle, I was going to say Seattle Supersonics, but that's basketball. The Seattle Seahawks. Sorry, not the Supersonics, the Seahawks, the Seattle Seahawks. And what that did was catapulted him to the Seattle Seahawks. And so that tells me about coaching. And it goes back to what I'm talking about coaching. You know, the right coach in the right system can elevate anybody. Kyle Shanahan is one of those guys who can do that. You have the one in Denver. I can't think of Denver's coach. Oh my God, I'm sorry, guys. I'm like losing it right now. But you got coaches in the league that can elevate their players, and what a couple of coaches in the league right now that can elevate their players are the coaches that stay keep their jobs. So. Let me see. Current NFL coaches in the NFL. Let me see. Current NFL coaches. Okay, so there it is right here. Okay. So in the Minnesota, like I said, when Sam Darnold went to the Minnesota Vikings, he had Kevin O'Connell, and Kevin O'Connell was that dude that coached Sam Darnold and kept him, same thing like Shanahan got him good. But then you have some coaches that just don't get it, and it doesn't work. Doesn't work at all. So they got to a lot of coaches. What they call today is Black Monday. So now, like I'm picking the 49ers over the Eagles anyway. So that's my last pick for the wild card, and we'll get back to the other ones next week. But before I go, the last 10 minutes of the podcast, let's talk about the coaches. They got fired today. So today is considered Black Monday, which means it's after the last game of the season. That Monday, usually GMs, owners look at their staff and say the one losing teams or losing franchises or whatever you want to call it. That's when they do a evaluation of their team, the players, the coaches, and say, should we go further with this guy, or should we move on? Should we keep these players, or should we move on? But it's mostly Black Monday is about the coaches, and a lot of coaches lose their jobs on Black Monday. So today on Black Monday, a lot of people lost their job. And I go through I got the whole entire coaching list, and I'll tell you who lost their job. Jonathan Gannon lost his job to Arizona Cardinals. He went 3-14 this year. He's been there 2 years. He had what is his name? God, I can't think of the coach's name. Little short player, little short quarter QB. What's his name? Can't think of his name right now. If you know his name, let me know. Hit me up. Let me know. Okay, so Jonathan Gannon, 3-14 this year, did and he was out of a job, so he's done. Raheem Morris, Atlanta Falcons, they went 8-9. He's been there 5 years, and but I don't that one of the Jonathan Gannon thing. I think it was more of players probably tuned him out, and he couldn't get the QB right. They couldn't get no wins together. They couldn't string the wins together. Just it wasn't a good fit. Raheem Morris for the Falcons. Falcons had an up and down season. They lost their starting QB, Michael Penix Jr., halfway through the season, and then they put in the guy they paid all this money to, Kirk Cousins, who was older than Moses, who probably should have had his cane on and partner Red Sea, how old he is. But they had him and couldn't get it done. Even though they did look well against the Rams and they looked well in their last game of the season, they won. I think probably the management had already made their decision what they were going to do. But Raheem had been there 5 years, and yeah, they gave him the boot. Who else? Like I said, who else lost their job this year? Kevin Stefanski. Now this one right here, Kevin Stefanski, Cleveland Browns. He lost his job. Now, let me tell you about Kevin Stefanski, and this is the one I was talking about earlier. Kevin Stefanski has been there 5 years. You said Deshaun Watson. He just had the quarterback they brought in, and then they ended up trading him. Veteran QB. I forgot his name. God, I can't think of his name right now. I'm sorry. Sorry, guys. But if you can think of it, hit me up. Let me know. But he lost him, and then they picked up Dylan Gabriel from the draft, and he picked up Shedeur Sanders from the draft. Now they're supposed to say that Kevin Stefanski was this offensive guru and knew how to work with quarterbacks and all this stuff like that. But the way they played didn't work. I saw it. What? Okay, let me tell you what looked bad was that you had picked Shedeur Sanders and you picked Dylan Gabriel. Your original quarterback that you went with they ended up releasing him, and he went to Cincinnati. I'll think of his name in a minute. But you got him, and you got Shedeur and Dylan. And everybody's saying Shedeur is playing better than Dylan Gabriel. Now, Dylan Gabriel is from Oregon. I remember him playing in college. The reason why he won in college is because of the system they ran. And it worked for Dylan because they're Oregon's like in the college playoffs right now because of the coach and the culture that they have around there. So they can plop anybody in that system and they'll succeed. I think the last three quarterbacks that came in the maybe like the last 3 over the last 5 years that came from Oregon have done okay. But Oregon has this system that they run. Like I said, it's all about the system that you run. You can plug anybody, just like the 49ers. Even though Brock Purdy got hurt and they brought in Sam Darnold thrived. This year, Brock Purdy got hurt, and they had the guy from they used to play in New England. They had him as his backup quarterback, and he thrived. I'm gonna remember his name because I don't want to keep saying the guy, but he thrived. Oh my God, he thrived hard. He did good, real well. While Brock Purdy was hurt. So as I'm saying, the coaches like Kyle Shanahan, he can do that with a coach. It's the culture that they have. Let me see if I get the roster. Yeah, roster. They end up second one. Brock Purdy, Mac Jones. That's his name, Mac Jones. So Mac Jones, coach from Alabama, been in the league 5 years. Used to play for Patriots. I think it was the number one pick for the Patriots during the draft. Not the number one pick of the draft, but the quarterback they picked in the draft to succeed. Peyton Manning, Tom Brady in New England, and it didn't work out. So they figured Mac Jones wasn't that dude, so they let him go. So the 49ers picked him up. As soon as they picked him up, everybody said, oh yeah, he's going to be around Shanahan. He's going to get better. And he was. What Shanahan did with his system was when Brock went down, He put Mac Jones in, and he realized what Mac could and could not do. So he made the game plan easy for him. Okay, check down here, check down here. He didn't give him the deep. I don't think he gave him that too many deep threats because he knew, what he had in the quarterback, and he wasn't. Mac Jones really was mobile, but not really that mobile. So he gave him what he had and said, "Okay, Mac, this is what you can do. You can do this. You can do that. You can do that. You can do this." So that's what I'm saying. So Kevin Stefanski's case, he had Shedeur Sanders. He had Dylan Gabriel. Dylan Gabriel didn't do nothing. So after they got rid of the quarterback they got rid of, then they put in Dylan Gabriel. And he still had a horrible record. Like I said, their record was Kevin Stefanski's record was 5-12. Three of those four, I think four of those wins, Shedeur got four of those wins out of that 5-12 record. I think Shedeur had 4 wins out of that. So they weren't doing that well with Dylan Gabriel. And then the crazy part about it was Shedeur was, when the trade happened, Shedeur was second. I believe he was second on the depth chart when they traded away their QB at the beginning of the season. And what they did was they flip flopped and they went with Dylan Gabriel. Well, Dylan Gabriel was our starting quarterback. What? Dylan Gabriel? And you got Shedeur Sanders? I'm like, whatever. And they released him. And I was like, whatever. So they still have just Deshaun Watson on their roster. But the thing about it was, and then they had Bailey Zapp. And they had Bailey Zapp as a QB. Bailey Zapp? Who the heck is Bailey Zapp? Where he come from? Western Kentucky. Anyway, so what I'm saying about coaches is, I don't know what it was about Shedeur that he didn't believe in or didn't see, but he felt like Shedeur wasn't the guy. But then he put him in there. I think the first preseason game he put in there, Shedeur shined. Next preseason game he put him in. He put him with the backups and everybody else's backups, and he had a bad game. It's like, oh well, see, he still needs to learn. No, look what you put him in with. You didn't put him with the first team, and then they were saying during practices he wasn't practicing with the first team. Even when the other guy left and they put Dylan Gabriel, Shedeur was not the second. So, in my opinion, my personal opinion, if you have your starting QB, you have your backup QB, and you have your third QB and your fourth QB. Your fourth QB is the practice squad QB. Your third QB is your backup to your second, and then you have your starting. So the way it was the guy that left Cleveland at the beginning of the season, and then you had Shedeur was the second, and Dylan Gabriel was the third, and then Bailey Zapp was the fourth. And then when the QB left, so you figure if the QB they got rid of traded the QB away, then Shedeur should be popped up as the next one, right? No, they flip flop. They gave it to Dylan Gabriel, and then made Shedeur the fourth quarterback behind Zappy. The only reason why Shedeur moved up in the depth chart is because Zappy got hurt, so they moved Zappy down and moved Shedeur down to the third, and then Shedeur was the second, and then Dylan wasn't working out. Then they went to Shedeur, and I was like, "This is crazy. He don't know what he's doing." But everybody can say, "Oh, Kevin Stefanski is this offensive guru." And and that's what I was talking about. This is what I said I heard today was the guy was like, well, even though Kevin Stefanski lost his job, he'll be another coach. He'll coach somewhere else. He'll get a job. But a lot of owners are looking at it like you had two top picks in the draft, two stud quarterbacks, and you couldn't get it done with them. Why would we bring you over here? Why would we bring you here? Answer that question. Why would I bring you here? Not doing it. So he got fired. He got fired. And who else got fired? I think that was it. Shane Steichen didn't get fired because in Indianapolis, they ended up getting Phillip Rivers, who was sitting on his couch watching the game, and he got a phone call. Said, hey, you want to come play quarterback? He said, sure, I ain't doing nothing but sitting here knocking up these brewskis and watching the game. Matter of fact, I'm watching y'all game, and I can tell y'all what I can do better. So they got Phillip in there, but that didn't really work. They still went 8-9 though, but they started off in the Coast. Did start off good, and then their quarterback they had what's his name that came from New York, and Daniel Jones from New York. He didn't work out. And see, this is what I'm talking about. This is what I say about QBs and systems and franchises and stuff like that. Sometimes it's not always the QB, it's the system. Some QBs thrive in certain systems. Now, if you have a QB that's a has a good presence to him, that everybody can respect, like a Peyton, like a Brady, like a Montana, like a Rice. I'm sorry, not a Rice, like a Montana, like a Steve Young, like a Dan Marino, uh, Ben Roethlisberger. Those kind of guys. Those guys commanded respect, and they had them, and John Elway. Those guys commanded respect from the coach and the players. So when they said, like, Peyton Manning was great, was outstanding at it, they would call a play and Peyton would get the line like, "No, we ain't running that. I'm looking at the defense. We ain't doing that." And he would check it down. He's like, "No, we changing that up." And they were like, "What? Wait." But he commanded that respect, and he knew the game. And so the coach just had to coach the rest of the players. Said, "Yeah, Peyton got the offense. I just got to make sure everybody else is in place and everybody doing what they're supposed to do." Peyton got it on the field. He's my coach on the field. Brady, same way. Brady was the coach on the field. Belichick was the coach behind it, was the coach, but Brady was the actual coach on the field that was there for them and helped them win. So, like I said, there's certain coaches that just don't get it. San Francisco 49ers, like I said, Kyle Shanahan, I've been talking about him a lot. He knows how to coach what he has. He knows he has Christian McCaffrey. He knows he has Brock Purdy. He knows what they can do and what they cannot do. He knows he has George Kittle. He knows what he has in the wide receiver depth. He has Ricky Pearsall. He has these guys. So he knows what to do with them, and he knows what schemes to put him in and which way to do it. He said, okay, Ricky Pearsall is our deep threat now because Brandon Ayuk is hurt and down for the season. So let's throw Ricky in there. And Ricky knew what to do. Ricky Pope stuck in for Brandon Ayuk. When they had Deebo Samuels, Shanahan said, okay, Deebo's that kind of guy that can just do anything. So he put him in a lot of different packages. Came out the backfield, play running back, wide receiver, tight end. He had him doing all that stuff like that. But see, here's the thing is, and this goes in any sport. Let's get to that because I'm talking about coaching. I'm talking about system. Any sport, a certain player in a certain system thrives. But then you take him to another system that doesn't run the same way, and he flops. He flops. Key example in the NBA. Brown, that played for the Denver Nuggets. When he played for them the first time, when he won a championship, he was their defensive stopper. And so he played his role and they won. Now he went somewhere else for more money, and they come to find out, oh, he ain't that good. I mean, he's a good defensive stopper, but he's not really who we thought he was going to be. And we traded for him. So he ended up coming back. I think he's back in Denver now. He went away for like a season or 2 seasons or whatever. But then they realized that it was a system that he was in that made him successful. It wasn't really the player himself. And see, that's what a lot of players in different sports is, that you get a player because they do so well with, and I watched a video on that one time. It was from the NFL Film Room or something like that. It was on YouTube. I was watching it. And I sit up late at night and watch videos and watch stuff and watch my own stuff back. But they were talking about players that get traded and then flop. And they had a list of players. And I was watching it going, yeah, I remember them person. Yeah, I remember that. Yeah, I remember that. This team traded away because they saw that the player was either declining or they weren't working out because of the system. And they were moving on. But the player itself thought he was doing that well. So they paid all that money. Come to find out he was a bust. One of the guys was an MVP from the Super Bowl. Played for the Raiders. And he got traded. No, played for Dallas. He was MVP for Dallas, I think, for one of the Super Bowls. And he got traded. Or either he got traded or he went to a free agency to a different team. Paid him all his money. He never played well again. So, like I said, it's about the system you got in there. Seattle Seahawks. Oh, my God. I hate saying that name. Seattle Seahawks have the best defense, I think, in the NFL right now. But maybe behind... Oh, God. Not behind anybody right now that I know of. Maybe the Rams. Maybe the Rams have about the same. But Seahawks, I watched the game, and this is why I got to cry a little bit, but I ain't going to try to cry about it. But anyway, yeah, the Seahawks put it on my Niners. Last game of the season, 13-3. Game for the number 1 seed in the NFC. But when I was watching the game, I saw it. I knew it. I said, this defense is crazy. If you don't have if you can't run the ball on them, You can't do nothing. And the Niners kept trying to run on them because that's the system they were. That's like I said, system. That's the system that Shanahan runs. He's trying to establish the run that the run starts. If you get your run established, it gets the play. You can get the play action working. And play action means that you can fake the run and throw a pass. And the defense will suck in for the run, and then you get 1-1 coverage on the outside, and you can throw a pass. But what Seattle's defense is, their front four played so well in stopping the run that the Niners didn't have an answer for it. And they tried a couple of things, and they actually marched down the field like the last quarter. And the game was close. The game was 10-3 and then 13-10 for a long time, or 13-7. Was it 13-7 or 13, something like that? No, 13. It was 13-7, I believe. Yeah, it was 13-7, but it was there for a long time. But the defense couldn't. I mean, the offense couldn't do anything. And Seattle's defense was outstanding, and all those guys were studs. They were just flying all over the field. They were playing hard. They were playing rough. And when you have a defense like that plays that hard, they can go a long way. And I believe that their defense reminds me of the Ravens defense that won the Super Bowl. Ravens didn't have the best of quarterback, but their defense with Ray Lewis, those boys, they played hard. And they came after you, and they got after you, and you couldn't run on them. You couldn't pass. They had the Ray Lewis playing linebacker. They had that front seven and that front four up there, and then they had the safeties and the linebackers. Oh my God, you couldn't do nothing on them, and that's how they won the Super Bowl. And Seattle was there. Seattle was right there. Now, I think the Niners can beat them because when we played them, we didn't have, like I said, we had people that were out. Like George Kittle was just coming back from a hamstring injury, so he played. I don't think he was at full strength when he played. So he wasn't really a vital part of the offense. Christian McCaffrey was there, but they kept stopping. Like I said, they stopped the run, so that knocked him off the thing. And then Ricky Pearsall didn't play. So we really didn't have anybody. They had Brandon, Juwan Jennings on the outside, but that's all you had. You didn't have any other threats. Nobody else could get loose or get live. And when you have limited players on offense, not saying everybody that plays the game don't know what they're doing. It's just that some players are studs, and those guys that were out there were not studs. So it was hard for them to get them out there. So it was a good game, but the Seahawks defense was lights out, and I gotta give them credit for that. Even though I don't like them, I gotta give them credit because they were outstanding. But that's almost. I think that's all my time. I think I went over. Yeah, I went a long time today. There's a lot of things going on. So out of all the and also who else got fired? Oh, from the Las Vegas Raiders, Pete Carroll got fired. I knew that. I saw that coming. They brought Pete Carroll back because they thought he can get that spark, that magic he had in Seattle, and it didn't work out with this new group. And Pete Carroll's like, I think 70 years old. So I didn't think that's gonna work out. Mike Vrabel need to be coach of the year, bro, because he went to the God, I just went blank right there. Sorry, guys. He went to the New England Patriots and turned that whole franchise around because they believed in him. And one of the things I saw from him was that after every game, he goes in the tunnel and waits for every player to come out and high fives every single player that walks out. That's how you win your team right there. You're connected from the last guy to the first guy, the 52-man roster. You're sitting there high fiving every 52 times, high fiving 52 times. Bam, 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 bam. Everybody comes in and out. It's coming out down that tunnel, and he just said he does it every game, and that's him winning the locker room. When you win the locker room, people love playing for you. They play hard for you because they don't want to let you down. I'm like, yeah, coach, we got you. We're gonna win this game just for you, and it triggers something inside of you. And that's in any sport or any walk of life. So let me give you my lesson for today. When you love doing what you're doing, this was the lesson we had on our Sunday school. It was in Sunday school. It was one of our points from our Sunday school teacher on Sunday. And by the way, I go to Grace Place Church, which is in Lancaster, California, 45212 7th Street East. Grace Place also has a podcast. If you want to listen to any of our messages that are on Grace Place, go search search Apple and Spotify and YouTube. Type in Grace Place AV, and you can hear some dynamic messages from Pastor Michael X. Richardson. Okay, that's my plug for them. But anyway, my lesson for today was that If you enjoy what you're doing, you do it to the best of your ability. I enjoy doing podcasts, so I do try to do it the best of my ability. I try to talk to the best of my abilities. And if I go back and listen to this and I don't sound the way I should have sounded, then I go back and do it again. Well, I enjoy doing it. I enjoy doing media stuff that I do for my church. I enjoy doing that. I love it. I love the media. I love doing different things, whatever it is, media wise. I love it. So I'm saying in life, if you enjoy what you're doing, you'll do it to the best of your ability. If you have a job and you enjoy that job to the best of your job, you're going to do that job to the best of your ability because you enjoy going to work every day. If you have a job that you don't enjoy going to work every day, you're not going to do your best because you're thinking about the time when it's time to go home. You do a 9 to 5, and when you get there, you just keep looking at the clock like, okay, I got here at 9. God, when is break? Oh, when is lunch? Oh, when is second break? Oh my God, how much time we got till we get off? You don't enjoy your job. Every job I've been in, there's maybe been like 2 jobs that I didn't enjoy. And I felt like that, like, okay, when is this job going to be over? God, I'll be glad when these 8 hours are over. Maybe I had a couple of jobs in my lifetime. There's been maybe 2 that I can think of that I did not enjoy. But the majority of my jobs that I had, I enjoyed to the fullest. So when you're doing something, whether it's a job, whether it's entrepreneurship, whatever it is, whatever you're doing, if you enjoy it, you're going to do it to the best of your ability. You're going to do it to the fullest of your ability, and you're going to enjoy doing it. And the time is just going to fly because you're going to enjoy it. Like I said, if you're working a 9 to 5, you're working so good and you're enjoying it so well. Before you know it, it's 5 o'clock. You'll be like, oh man, I got to go home. Dang, I was just getting in the groove. Same thing in sports. When a player, whether it's basketball, football, baseball, hockey, soccer, tennis, any sport, when they enjoy playing that sport, they play to the best of their ability. Even a night when they're not that good, they enjoy it because of the camaraderie, the teamwork. If you enjoy playing with a certain person, if you enjoy working with a certain person, you guys work better than the others because you guys can laugh and joke. There's basketball teams like that they find that chemistry, and once once it clicks, and they find out what they have, they play to the best of their ability because they don't want to let each other down, and they'll joke about it and say, "Hey, I bet I get 30 tonight. I bet you can get 30, or I bet I can block 5 shots tonight. How many can you do?" Whatever they do, whatever they got to do, the banter they do to keep them going. But my point is, when you do something to the best of your ability, you're going to enjoy it. You're going to enjoy it. And talking about the NFL and Black Monday and the coaches getting fired, the players wasn't doing it to their best. The players could have played better, but they weren't playing better for that person because they didn't. I'm not going to say they didn't like that coach or they didn't like that person, but they didn't feel like this was the person for them. This wasn't the coach that they needed for their thing. So that's my take on today. Thank you guys for listening. I got some new music. I'm going to pull it in right now. Is it playing? Oh, there we go. Sorry. So that's it for this week of Ray on Sports. I am your host, Johnny Ray. Thank you guys for listening. Thank you guys for taking this ride with me. I appreciate everything and everything you guys bring to the podcast. Once again, if you want to listen to this podcast, I am on Apple Music. I am on Spotify. I am on Google. I'm on Amazon. Google. Whew. I'm on Amazon. I'm on YouTube. I'm on YouTube channel, Ray on Sports. You can find me on TikTok, Johnny Ray /Ray on Sports. If you want to catch my clips and all things like that I do. Oh, that's my music going. I love it. But that's it for this week of Ray on Sports. Until next week, which I'll probably come back with the results from this week, wild card weekend, and we'll do this one more time. Hey, thank you guys for taking this ride. Take care, and God bless.